Hey everybody, this is Crazy with Crazy Gaming, and we're back for another episode of Junk Punk. Now I know I've been kind of MIA. I've been doing other things. I got some personal family stuff I've been working on, and so I'm doing some remodeling at my house, and so that takes precedent. And so we're back, but what I did is I jumped on last night, and I got on kind of late actually, and I didn't tape anything because I was running around doing a bunch of mundane things. What I did was I harvested a bunch of materials and built this deck. As you can see, we have the second floor, which we had been working on, I think in the last episode, maybe the one before. Also, as you can see, all the machines that were down here on the bottom, all the processing that we had here, including the drone pads and everything, have now moved. I moved the drone pads all the way up top. I moved some of the machines up to the second floor that we had down here for processing the alloy. We still have the drone factory down here, along with the assembler and the fabricator, which makes all the parts for the drone factory to manufacture the drones. This actually is for making the drive cores that we need to make the front. Let's see. Yeah, for the front unit, and we have the back unit, and so on and so forth. But this one requires the drive cores to make, and so hence the reason it's hooked up to the machine back here, which is again the assembler. Now this only does two things. It does the drive cores and it does electronics. Now electronics can be important, and we need them here and for a lot of other things as well. I got the stairwell completed here, and we'll go up top and look at the second floor. Now, I also worked on building a third floor last night, and so as you can see, we have a little power station up there and some other items. Okay, so what I'm doing is I set up a drone pad up here and connected it to a foundry, which then is making copper bars, which sends to the assembler here. And this little line is set up to make electronics. So right now it's not working, it's not running, because it also takes alloy. And right now I've got one, so I need to make some alloy, and then those items are being sent in here. As you can see, I haven't really been too concerned about it, because as you can see, we've got quite a few electronics in here. Also, this was our original line from downstairs for making the alloy, and as you can see, I've worked on this for hours last night trying to figure out a balance, because what happens here is this machine here is manufacturing the aluminum bars, and then instead of having the one that was making the steel bars, I've now got three. This is the closest I could come to finding some sort of balance to this, so that these would be producing enough, because it takes two steel bars and one aluminum to make the alloy. Now, as you can see, I've got all the steel, everything is filled with the steel bars behind the aluminum. These two slots are reserved for each of these items exclusively. In other words, only aluminum can go in this slot, and only steel bars can go in this slot. Now, normally these aluminum bars would fill these other slots up, because it was being manufactured twice as fast as the steel bars. So what I did is I added the two extra foundries, and they are all making steel bars. And with those three feeding this machine, I shut this machine off and allowed all these to be filled with the steel bars, let all the lines get full with steel bars, and so now it's producing this, and as you can see, in a fashion that really pumps these out in almost nothing flat. And so, that being said, that's the closest I was able to find as a recipe to make these bars. Now, why that stopped sending those out unless the bottom is full now? Let's run down and check. Yes. Okay, so this is full now, and so what I'm going to work on today is I'm going to find a better solution for that by adding a storage container in. But, so there you have it. That's my answer for balancing the line for making alloy. Now, so what I'm going to do is end up removing this, which is feeding the machine below, and adding a line out to probably here somewhere, and put in another storage container, and that will allow us to have these two items exclusively being manufactured right here, which is electronics and alloy. Now, alloy is necessary for just about everything in the game, as you know. This is going to be our roof, what I would consider our roof. The building won't be going any higher than this, at least not at this stage. This is a small power grid that I set up to feed all these machines upstairs up here. Now at the far end down there, you can see a couple more windmills that I put up to generate power for the third, the drone pad that is collecting the rare metals or the aluminum. And so I had to add this in because the grid is not large enough to support this down here, and so I just threw a couple of these up and connected it, and so this is on its own power grid. But anyways, as you can see, is I'm running on top of all these floors here, you know, pieces of these floors. This took a lot of materials and time to build. And so, hence the reason I didn't tape this yesterday, because it was very monotonous. I spent the majority of my time just running around and placing all these pieces, as you can see, include building this wall on the outside out here. So if I run back here and we look up, as you can see, this is quite an endeavor. It took lots and lots of time. Very monotonous. It's really not a lot of fun to videotape, so I didn't figure I'd waste your time with showing you all this time that I spent setting up all this. And so, that being said, I also started working on some sort of a feature that I could use to make this edge here at the bottom here look a little more aesthetically nice. And so I'm probably going to go with this staircase that I'm using. You know, it has the green lights on it. It looks nice, and I'll place those. Now, these weren't easy to place, and in fact, they are not on the snap grid. They are off the snap grid, which means I had to disable the snap grid and hand place this stuff. And it's very, very time consuming and difficult to get these things lined up. And so I'm going to do that kind of work off camera as well, because that's going to take me hours to get all this done all the way across the front of this thing, which is what my goal is. Alright, and then of course I'm going to probably end up tearing this wall down here and extending this out a little more. I'm not sure, I just have to think about it. That, or I'm going to figure out a different situation. I may take these down and move them up top, because I'm going to use that third floor exclusively for power. So, anyhow, this is all a part of course, this is the ground extractor, which is pulling sand from this little node here. It sends it into here, which turns the sand into glass, and then that is being fed into this machine here, or this container here, and then is fed to this point. Now I was using this to, I can hook this up to here. I disconnected it from here because it will fill this every open slot on this thing on the top with glass, and I don't need all that. And so I just temporarily have it there. I'm going to set up a new line going this way that is going to make the vials that we need. And so that's going to be the main reason for that. I want to move this drone factory up top somewhere, and eventually I'll do that, but just not today. So, that being said, there's no vertical lifts in this game, and so I kind of had to make my own, and it looks off and off-putting, but it is all I have, and so I'm utilizing it the best way I can. Now, it looks really just cheesy as heck, actually, but it does work, and it functions. Now, I put in the suggestions on the Discord for Punk to make some sort of lifts, you know, conveyor lifts for this game. Everybody seems to be in agreement that that's something that would be useful and fun to have, so maybe we'll get lucky and they will make some lifts for the game. Anyways, that being said, I have a ton of drones up top now with those 4 drone pads we have, so constantly seeing drones moving in and out. I had a problem with one on that far side over there actually connecting after I moved it up top. I can't kind of figure out why it's not working. I've also installed this container here, which is holding all my excess stuff that I'm not able to carry around with me, or that I don't really need at this point. And as you can see, I have a ton of copper bars. I'll probably end up utilizing those in the machine once I get a line set up for what I'm going to use the electrical parts for. But as you can see, it's really unnecessary. Now this says that one is assigned. How you can tell that is this here will tell you how many are assigned to this. I have it lowered to 1 because it's not that important. I'm the one that filled all these in here, so it has not been, I don't have a drone that's actually showing up here to do anything, which I don't understand. I have everything I need to deploy another drone for it, but I don't want to do that because before the update, and when I completed this the first time around, I had problems with the drones, and when you unassign and reassign, try to reassign stuff, it sometimes can create an issue. If one's already assigned here, I can go ahead and launch a new drone from down below. It will not assign here because it's showing that one is already assigned. And the only way to change this number, for some reason it used to be you could just turn the machine off and it would zero this number out. There we go. Now I can turn it back on. I can say 1 and hopefully it will assign it. I didn't catch that. Oh, see, it immediately shows that 1's assigned. Only 1 never seems to show up here, and I don't know why that is. So I don't know what to say. So that's an issue, but it's not an issue that I'm going to deal with today. Alright, so that being said, we've got all this going on here. Like I said, I want to change this out, and that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to go ahead and run downstairs so that I don't lose any of my alloy. Now, I could remove that belt from up here with a laser, but it will not give me the stuff that's on the belt. It will give me all the materials for the belt back, but it won't give me the alloy that's all sitting on that belt. The only way I can retrieve that is to come to the machine, take alloy out of the machine to make space like this. Right, so now it's going to bring all that alloy that's on the belt down. What I do need to do is go up and check to see what's in the machine itself that makes the alloy, because otherwise it's going to be spinning my wheels. I will shut the machine off so it'll stop producing it, and take whatever's stored in there so it'll stop sending it down, because otherwise it'll just fill that slot again. So what I do is shut this off so it'll stop sending alloy down. I'm going to grab all this. There we go. That'll clear the belts. Look at all this alloy we have. It's a lot. So that balance works very well, as you can see. I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't need to run down. I can jump. Another thing I discovered is I was actually wrong. The drones will not clip through the platforms. Now, I don't know if that's something maybe that happened in the update, because I could have swore in an earlier video when we first set this first drone pad up over here that it was actually coming right up through the foundation above. They will not do that now. If anything is obscuring them from a straight up view of the sky, they hover and they bounce and they kind of shift back and forth, and they will not actually land and drop off their loads. So that's just a heads up, so you know. Alright, so we're going to pull this belt. We'll run back up, and then we'll add that container, and we will start belting that stuff into the container. And so this roof part that I was talking about is actually not going to extend like that upper deck over there is. That's for the drone pads. The rest of all of this, we will have a ledge like this all the way around here, and it will be for power, building power, windmills and such. Alright, so let's see if we can put down another storage container. Now, I noticed that the small NWR container small has 30 slots, as well as the large, which has 30 slots. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's 30 slots as well. So the storage capacity is the same in these. The only difference is the belt size. This is the large belts, these are the small belts. And I'm really glad they did this, because before they had made that change in this last big update, the small one or the large one both had the large, and so there was no way to do machines such as the drone factories and stuff. You could not belt into these things. It was just really a pain in the behind. So with that being said, let's go ahead and pick that. We're going to want to try and line this up. Now it looks like we may have to use the large. Is this the large one? Yes, it is. We have to use the large one for this. So let's go ahead and pick the large one. Actions, boom, boom. Now we can turn this machine back on. Let it do its thing. Why are they banging into each other like that? Is it that far? Yes, it is. Alright, let's go ahead and move the belt. Let's move this thing. Probably should grab the stuff that went in, out. Now let's do this thing. Let's try this again. I had it lined up, but another way sometimes what I'll do to help line stuff up is I will get myself inside. There we go. And then I can kind of adjust and see where the center is. I'm going to put it with a little bit of space this time so it's not so close together to avoid the belt thing happening. That's better. Alright. So we'll allow it to fill all that up in there. And then from that point there, we can add other lines up here if we want. Now this, I wanted to use this up on top here, the space up top here for more basic lines. Because as this stuff is being made, eventually this stuff all is going to come together. Multiple parts it'll take multiple parts to manufacture things. And so what I want to set up is a glass line today. That's what I'm going to work on, so that we can start making the vials. So looking at this one makes these in electronics. So that's not going to be the machine. The assembler is not going to be the machine that I need. This one is going to make the vial. So I need another fabricator, and that's what we need to focus on, because we're going to want to make a line to make the pump. We're going to need a line to make the roller crusher. We're going to need a line to make the NWR filter. And as you can see, it takes 2 plastic ingots and 1 platinum ingot to make this, which means we're going to need 2 lines to build this line to make the part that we need, which is the filter. So I'm going to need a line to make this, a line to make this, and we're going to need to set up a line for the gears. And we're going to do that up top where we just, we're going to probably work that off of that container we just did, because this takes alloy, 2 alloys to make the gears. And so that's what we're going to do up top. But today I want to try and get this line set up, which is going to be the glass and the alloy. And we'll feed that from up top from that same container. We'll put a splitter down, and we'll run some of them things back down here to the glass line. Okay, so like I said, we need the fabricator. So let's see what we need to make that. Go to machines. Fabricator, we have everything we need. I want to stick that along here. Now this can be fed by 2 small ones or 2 large ones. We're going to probably end up using the small ones, so I want to put this right about put this one right about here. And in this sense, we can go ahead and connect up our excuse me. We can connect up our glass feed. As you can see, this has multiple line capability in the back of these medium belts, but we probably will need the other medium belts for the up top stuff. Oh, here I go. Got myself stuck. Oh, there we go. That's better. Alright, so this thing will feed the glass. We probably should have waited to feed this glass in here, because it's going to just fill up it'll fill all the way across. So I'm going to go ahead and burn this first part of the belt up. I don't care if I lose some of that glass, because that stuff is just, I can get glass all day long. What we do need to do is drop off another belt from up top to feed alloy. Well, let's run back over here and we'll head up top. Isn't this fun? Fun, 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 fun. And so how I'm doing this, oh, I got a little camera there. Okay, so there's where it needs to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close that back up. I'm going to want to drop this down probably over here somewhere. Let's take a look and see where we're at here. Yep, that would be a good spot, I believe. What I do is I open up and I swap the path like that so that I try not to get it too extreme like I had the last time. What I will do is I will run the belt over here. Like this. I'll turn it this way like this. Trying to keep it straight, it's difficult at best. This thing's trying to do some weird stuff to me. Alright, so let's get this. That's just a bad angle. Gotta give myself more room to make that cut. So we'll go ahead and connect back to here. We're going to bring this back out to here. Then we will swing it this way. It's really kind of sucks that they don't have corners for these belts, because no matter what I do, you can't really get it that straight. This is where I want it to turn. I can't really get a good cut on the corners on these. I try to straighten the belt back up. As you can see, I'm coming in at an angle, but there's nothing I can do about it. Alright, and so what I'm going to want to do here, there we go. Now I can hook the glass back up. And now we've got a machine that will make the vials. And what we need to do now is get power and bring that down from up top. Now where's my plug? Is it on the other side? It's got to be over here in the corner. There it is. Right, so I'll run back up, grab some power, and drop it down. Which power are we running? We're using 40, we're using 120. Alright. It's not going to be long enough. I'd like to try to keep this as straight as I can, so I guess what I'll do is, oops, we'll bring it down and drop it here. Bring the line out. to about there, and then I will feed it from here to the bottom of the machine, if I can get around this machine somehow. Are you kidding me? Come on. Oops. I've gotten all mixed into all the other machines now. There we go. That's better. Where is that power match? There it is. Alright, so we're going to need to set up storage for the vials as well. And so we will set a storage container here. Oops, we don't want to use that one, we need the big one. We need to rotate. Connections, belts. Alright, look at that. We got vials. Easy peasy. Okay. Another machine we need to set up is we need to start harvesting some potassium. Means we need a now the air extractor is cool in that you don't need to, it doesn't need any ore to make it run. It pulls stuff from the air. So that one's kind of cool, but it takes pumps, and so we're going to need to make some pumps for that. But this is going to take pumps as well, so we might as well make a bunch if we can. So let's run up to our workbench and see what we're going to need to do that. Charge ourselves while we're doing that. So that takes 2 rubber ingots. Now I had made some rubber ingots. I think I have some in the storage over there. We're going to need to set up a line for making the pumps anyway, so we'll probably end up doing that in the next episode. That, or I'll set one up while I'm off camera. So I have 12. That's not going to be enough. So let's take this and this. Bring them over here. Film in our trusty dusty machine and set it for rubber. There we go. And so having this foundry here on its own as a standalone is huge when you need to make stuff for quick manufacture of a part or a piece that you need, so you can change this to be whatever you need: steel, copper, rubber, platinum, whatever you want to make. And so I suggest that you set something up like this for yourself when you start this factory. I mean, you don't have to, but I will eventually make I will set up a foundry that will make these. We're manufacturing these pumps, but for now this will work fine. I'll just let that run and finish its own thing. We'll take these up here and we will make some pumps. Here we go, we have 30 pumps. We needed those for which machine? Oh, the extractors. Yeah, now we can make the extractors and we can make the air extractor. let's go ahead and set our... I want to get this... I want to get the space run out there before we do that, so that we make sure we're all nice and square. I want everything to work off the same pattern of our foundations, so we don't get ourselves off in some fashion. We want it to feed this direction, so we'll put it there like that. We'll run more of our foundations over so that we can run a belt up to the foundation. Hopefully we haven't gotten too close. That might be a problem. Yeah, I don't like that. Let's go ahead and move back. There we go, that's better. Alright, let's see if we can get a belt up here. That'll work. Now we'll put down some more foundations real quick. So we will process everything that we need to process from this potassium in this area out here. And so we'll need to expound all these foundations. Come on. There we go. We'll need to expound these foundations all the way over there and all the way back here, because there's a lot that's going to be involved in processing this, and I'm going to need to set up a couple drone pads out here because we're going to need plastic. And I think it's rare metal. I think it's potassium and rare metal. We're going to need to also manufacture those pressure rollers, and we're going to need to manufacture another item as well for that. That's just to set up the potassium line. That will feed into a machine that will put the potassium in the vials, which then would go through the final machine to be processed into the Monolith 2 to fill the potassium vial. So, with all that being said, like I said, a lot of this stuff in this stage, you know, outside of the setting up the lines, is a lot of laying foundations and things like that, of that nature. Now I've taken it a step further this time in this build, in that I'm building a factory, trying to make a factory, finding balance for the machines so that things will run on their own without me having to monitor them constantly. And then putting up the walls and making floors and all that. Now the first build I didn't do any of that, and everything was chaotic and chaos. I did a whole bunch of running around constantly, manually grabbing things and shifting things and moving things and such, and it was just really very unorganized and chaotic. I did complete it. I got all 3 vials filled to complete Monolith 2. but I decided on this build I was going to take my time and to try to set up a cool little factory and balance everything. And it took me a couple hours last night just to find some sort of balance for making the alloy. But as you can see, that belt up there that's feeding the alloy from up top, it's just a constant feed now. And I don't have to monitor it constantly, because I kept having to pull the aluminum bars out because they would fill everything up, and it would not. I would have everything backed up into my drone's pads because it would not be able to make it fast enough. And so setting it up that way, found that balance that I need. Now I can feed this alloy anywhere in the factory to any machine I want, and it's still constantly making them all the time, which is very nice. And I'll look at my bags full of alloy. I can build and do everything that I want to do, and I don't have to worry about running out of alloy to do that. Anyhow, so I need to set these platforms down, and we'll be back as soon as I'm done doing that, and we'll try to work on another line before we end the episode today. Back in a sec. Okay, we're back, and we have got all this laid down, all those foundations. And just another note that I wanted to show you, you can actually feed this stuff all the way up and through the walls around the monolith, so it makes a nice clean looking cut there. Anywho, we need to put this into something to process it, and I believe the processing is going to be not a fabricator, assembler. I believe it goes to a crusher. Do that, we need 24 gears. Check to see how we're doing with Vials. 100, 200, 300, 400, 5. Working on 500. We almost have 500 of those. Now I'm going to go up here and I want to grab some electronics, because before we go any further, we need to build a power system down there. That huge area we just put all that foundations on. Move these up. Let's grab a few more of these, because we're going to need them. This is going to be our main processing area, and I want to set up all the machines we're going to need to feed the monolith from here, from this platform area out here. So, but the first thing we're going to need is some power. We need to find a place to do that. And I think we'll use this big pit as a way to do that. Now what I need to know is if this may be too tall for this. Is it gonna work? Yes, it will. It will feed right through the foundation. Okay. Let's go ahead and finish laying this down. Come on. There we go. Come on, there we go. All right, let's see how many of these windmills we can get set up. Rotate them this way or that, and let's start back here in this corner. Oops, what are we missing? Probably gears. Yep. Oh, the glass stopped coming, so we need to turn the glass back on, but we're going to need some of these, so we're going to snatch them real quick. Because right now this is not priority. Turn that off. This says it's got damage to it, so let's see if we can fix it. There we go. I don't know how that happened. But now we have some power down here. We can add to that power if we need. Alright, first thing we're going to need is a storage container. Small. Wait, no, that's going to be large. Yep. And the reason I'm going to put a storage container here is I want to be able to feed from the storage container as a buffer. So that everything that's sent to the machines is coming from a flat surface and not off a belt that's been risen or whatever. Anyways, so let's do connections, let's do belts. Boom, there we go. Just really don't like how these things work. Let's go ahead and do this different. Our bag's full? Well, why did it drop that? Alright, let's try this again. This is going to work out better, I believe. We can get lined up on it. Perfect. Now let's see if we can get this belt to work. That's better. Now I don't have that funky little thing going on. Alright. Anyway, so now we're filling this with the phosphorus. Or with the potassium. Yeah, phosphorus. Let's see. That in there. I'm not positive, but I can't remember because it's been a while since I've been at this stage. But I'm fairly sure that this stuff needs to go through a crusher. So let's see if we can't get that set up. And this has the small. What's the small? Just don't remember. Let's set it up and see. Looks like these are the small openings that I don't remember. Let's put it this way, like this. Because I think we're going to need that other side for something else. Nope, they're medium. Connections. Let's make sure that that's what this is for. This is where we're supposed to be. Pure potassium. It takes, yeah, see, we're going to need a roller crusher, and we're going to need and we're going to need the potassium ore, but this is phosphorus, which is not potassium. So we don't need the crusher for that, so we can pick this back up. Because this is going to go here. Well, we'll set that line up when we get to that point. Well, if it's not the crusher, let me see. Refinery. We need 20 pumps for that. I believe we need the rubber for that. Let's go see how many rubber we have over here. Oh, look at that. We have rubber for days. That's probably more than enough. I believe it said we needed 20? Yep. We have 10, so we need 10 more. And we're going to probably need more than that, so let's just go ahead and... There we go. There are two of these doors. Why does one look like it's at an angle? Or do I have this thing wrong? Yeah, let's do it this way. Pure phosphorus, that's what we need. And to do that, we need 2 filters and 2 impure phosphorus. And if I'm not mistaken, this is impure phosphorus. Okay, so we're going to belt that stuff in. Let's hold off belting that in until we get this line set up for the filters. Let's run back down and make sure we put in the right machine, because we're going to want to... I think make the Fabricator, I'm not positive. I mean this assembler. Fabricator. Alright. To do that, we're going to need 2 plastic ingot and 2 platinum ingot. And to get the platinum ingot, we're going to need 2... We're actually going to need 2 drone pads for that, with 2 foundries. So... You're going to want to feed from the big door on this one. We're going to need another one right next to it. Alright, this one is going to do plastics. And this one is going to do rare metals. And we're going to need 2 foundries to set these up. We're going to probably have to move these back. Yep. Alright. So, we got these drones set up. This one would be doing the rare metals, which will make the platinum bars that we're going to need. And this one is going to do the plastic, which will go into a foundry that will turn it into the plastic ingots that we need. If I'm not mistaken. Yep. And then those two will be fed into a Fabricator, which will turn those items into the pumps, or the filters that we need. And then the filters will be fed into here, combined with the impure phosphorus, which will in turn make the pure phosphorus, which will go into another machine that will place that pure phosphorus into a vial, which goes into the last machine, which is the one that combines those two. That feeds it into the, of course, Monolith. So that's going to be what we're going to work on in the next episode. This is Crazy with Crazy Gaming. I hope you enjoyed this episode today, and I hope you learned a couple things, and things that you may have already known, but it may have been entertaining for you. Anyways, to say the least, don't forget this balance that we set up for the alloy will work for you as well. Hopefully it becomes useful for you. That's a first step into building a factory that's self-reliant and can run on its own without us running all over the place back and forth, trying to manage everything ourselves. And that's what we're working for. Anyways, I've got to work on getting this line set up and stuff, and I'm going to need to obviously add more foundations. We're going to build those back quite a ways. In fact, we're going to probably build those back a minimum of I probably want to build it back to here at least. So I'll be working on that, setting up these foundations and stuff while we're offline. Like I say, I hope you enjoyed the show today. If you did, hit that like button. It really helps us out. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. It's free and easy and doesn't cost you nothing, but it really helps us out. This channel, we put a lot of work into it. Really appreciate your help. Also hit the bell for notification. You get notified next time we drop a video. Again, this is Crazy with Crazy Gaming. Hoping you have a great day, afternoon, or evening. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.